I stood in the ballroom wearing a wedding dress I didn't remember choosing, about to marry a man whose face I'd never seen. My father's hand rested on my shoulder, firm, final. 3 brothers had pursued me. I'd chosen the one who wore the mask. And on our honeymoon, when he finally removed it, I realized I'd married the wrong man. My name is Lauren Hightower, and 6 months ago, I was living the kind of life people write about in magazines. At 26, I had a corner office at my father's investment firm in Manhattan, a penthouse in Tribeca, and enough social capital to open doors most people didn't know existed. My father, Richard Hightower, had built an empire from nothing, and he'd raised me to protect it the same way. The Al-Raziq brothers entered our world during a merger negotiation in Dubai. My father was acquiring a stake in their family's luxury hotel chain, old money, international influence, the kind of partnership that could expand Hightower Holdings across the Middle East. There were 3 of them. Kareem, the eldest, was smooth and political, always 10 steps ahead in conversation. Malik, the middle son, was quieter, thoughtful, with an engineering background and eyes that actually listened. And then there was Rashid, the youngest, who wore a silk mask covering the lower half of his face, a family tradition, he said, until marriage. Rashid pursued me like I was the only woman in any room. Flowers arrived at my office daily. Handwritten notes in perfect English. He was charming, confident, always saying the right thing at the right time. My father approved immediately. Kareem was too calculating, he said. Malik too passive. But Rashid had presence. Rashid had fire. I'll admit, the mask intrigued me. There was mystery in it, something romantic and old world. Rashid told me his family believed a man's face should be revealed only to his wife. A sacred unveiling that honored the bond. It sounded beautiful. It sounded significant. Malik tried to talk to me once at a gala in London. He approached me on a balcony while Rashid was inside speaking with investors. He didn't say much, just asked if I was sure about everything, if I was choosing freely. The question felt strange, almost insulting. Of course I was sure. Of course I was free. I told him I didn't appreciate the interference, and he nodded slowly, apologized, and walked away. I didn't think about it again. The engagement happened fast. My father said speed was strategic. The merger needed a personal anchor, something that proved commitment beyond contracts. Rashid proposed at a private dinner in Paris, and I said yes because everything pointed toward yes. My father was pleased. The board was pleased. Rashid looked at me like I'd saved his life. The wedding was planned in 8 weeks. Lavish, international, covered by society pages on 3 continents. I was busy with fittings and seating charts, and contract revisions. There were moments when I felt like I was organizing someone else's life, but I pushed the feeling down. This was what success looked like. This was what powerful families did. Malik sent me a letter 2 weeks before the wedding. It arrived at my apartment, handwritten, no return address. It said, "Lauren, you're choosing a performance, not a person. Please reconsider." I threw it away. I told myself he was jealous, bitter, inappropriate. I didn't tell anyone about it. Tea. Wedding was perfect in the way expensive things are perfect, flawless and cold. I smiled through every photo, every toast, every embrace from people I barely knew. Rashid held my hand during the vows, his mask pristine and white, his voice steady. My father cried. The merger paperwork was signed the same evening, in a private room, while guests danced downstairs. We flew to the Maldives for the honeymoon. Private villa, absolute privacy, 7 days of nothing but us. Rashid was attentive, affectionate, everything a new husband should be. But he didn't remove the mask. Not the first night, not the second. He said he was waiting for the right moment, something meaningful. I didn't push. I trusted the tradition. I trusted him. On the fourth night, we were sitting on the villa's deck, the ocean black and endless in front of us. Rashid was quieter than usual, almost distant. I asked him if something was wrong. He looked at me for a long time, then reached up and slowly untied the mask. The face underneath wasn't disfigured. It wasn't scarred. It was just wrong. It took me 5 full seconds to understand what I was seeing. The eyes were different, darker, sharper. The bone structure was close but not exact. The voice had always been the same, smooth and warm, but now I heard it differently, like a recording I'd misunderstood. "You're not Rashid," I said. He didn't deny it. He didn't apologize. He just sat there, holding the mask in his lap, and said, "No, I'm Kareem." The air went out of my lungs. I stood up, stepped back, tried to make sense of it. My brain was fighting itself, replaying every conversation, every touch, every moment I'd believed I was building something real. "Where is he?" I asked. "Rashid's. In London," Kareem said calmly. "He's been there the entire time. We switched 3 months ago, right after the engagement. He couldn't go through with it. He didn't love you. He didn't even want the marriage. But the family needed the alliance. I volunteered." I felt something crack inside my chest. "You volunteered." "Someone had to." He stood, still holding the mask. "Rashid is weak. He would have destroyed the deal, embarrassed both families. I did what was necessary. I protected everyone." "You lied to me," I said. My voice sounded far away, like it belonged to someone else. "I fulfilled the agreement." He corrected. "Your father got his merger. Our family got legitimacy in Western markets. You got status, security, everything you wanted." "I wanted the truth. You wanted the result," Kareem said. "And you got it. The marriage is legal. The contracts are signed. Nothing changes except what you know." I thought about my father. I thought about the board. I thought about the society pages and the merger, and the 8 weeks I'd spent performing my own life. I thought about Malik's letter. "You're choosing. A performance, not a person." "I'm leaving," I said. "You can't," Kareem replied. "Not cruel, just factual. The marriage has been consummated. The paperwork is filed. If you leave now, it becomes an international scandal. Your father's reputation collapses. Hightower Holdings loses credibility. In every market we've entered, dozens of people lose their jobs. Your family becomes a joke." He was right. I knew he was right. That's what made it unbearable. I didn't leave the Maldives early. I stayed the full 7 days, sleeping in a separate room, avoiding Kareem except when absolutely necessary. He didn't apologize. He didn't beg. He simply carried on as though everything was fine, as though I'd adjust once I accepted the reality. When we returned to New York, I told my father everything. I sat in his office and explained, step by step, what had happened. I expected rage. I expected him to pull out of the merger, to protect me, to do something. Instead, he leaned back in his chair and said, "Did he hurt you?" "He lied to me," I said. "Did he hurt you physically?" "No, but then it's manageable." He folded his hands. "Lauren, this is unfortunate, but it's not a disaster. You're married to a different brother. So what? Kareem is actually the better choice. He's strategic, disciplined. He'll run the family business one day. Rashid would have been a liability." I stared at him. "You don't care that I was deceived." "I care that you're protected," he said. "And you are. You have a legal marriage, financial security, social standing. You made a choice, and it had consequences. Now you adapt." That was the moment I understood. I hadn't been choosing a partner. I'd been signing a contract, and the terms were never really mine. I tried to annul the marriage. 3 lawyers told me the same thing. It would take years, cost millions, and destroy both families publicly. Kareem's family had resources I couldn't fight. My father made it clear he wouldn't support me. The scandal would bury Hightower Holdings. So I stayed. Not because I wanted to. because leaving would cost more than I could pay. Kareem and I lived separately, within the same penthouse. We attended events together, smiled for photos, played the part. He never touched me. He never demanded anything. He was polite, distant, transactional. It was a business arrangement, and he honored it exactly as that. People congratulated me on my marriage. Friends said I looked radiant. My father told investors I'd secured a historic alliance. No one asked if I was happy. No one noticed I'd stopped talking unless spoken to. Malik sent one more letter. It said, "I'm sorry I didn't fight harder. I didn't respond. It's been 2 years now. I still live in the penthouse. I still go to the office. Kareem and I exist in the same space without ever really occupying it together. We're polite. We're functional. We're strangers bound by paperwork and reputation. I don't talk about what happened. People wouldn't understand, and even if they did, it wouldn't change anything. The marriage stands. The merger succeeded. Hightower Holdings expanded into 6 new markets. My father is richer than ever. I see Rashid sometimes at family gatherings. He avoids my eyes. I don't blame him. I don't blame anyone anymore. Blame requires the belief that something could have been different.